Richard, this word liberation seems to imply perhaps a state of a nervous system or an event. Although you say this is liberation or there's nothing but liberation, which seems to imply something beyond state, maybe becoming a name for the unknowable, whatever, unification. In other words, kind of disappearing into meaninglessness. I don't know if there's anything worth saying about that. But often, as it's heard, often the hearing of it implies an event, like after liberation, and I know that you'll disclaim, after, because there is really only. And it seems to sound like a state. Like after liberation, then there is liberation, the state of liberation, in the totality of liberation. And maybe there's nothing clearer than that, which is just mud. Mud.
It's the business of trying to nail custard to the wall.
Yes, okay.
That's the problem. And so, yes, this may be heard as the implication that there is a state of liberation. There isn't.
Right.
It may be heard as there's a before and an after. There
Right.
isn't. This is already liberation. And we could add to that, that's either seen or it isn't seen. And it's not being seen is just as much liberation.
Yeah.
As it being seen. But to the mind of the one who feels separate, that's not how it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a state, it's not an experience. There may or may not be, in the story of the character, there may or may not be an event, and it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's about as close as we can get to getting that damned custard to stay still, rather than running down the wall.
And even that doesn't matter.
No, of course not.
In fact, the dog will find it easier to lick up.
Well, the dog is very grateful the custard can't be nailed to the wall. And as we've had a discourse about dog consciousness on a previous occasion in Munich, so maybe there isn't a need to have it again. But of course the dog is already... Well, the dog's in dog consciousness, clearly, and dog consciousness is as good a description of liberation as we could possibly get. This is it and this is enough. That's what dogs live in. There is no veil of separation between the dog and the bone. And there probably isn't very much energy directed at the past or the future. I was reading somebody recently who said, well, the difference between... They were talking about levels of self and levels of ability to self-reflect and levels of self-consciousness. And they would say, well, the difference between the dog and you is you both enjoy the walk, but the dog doesn't sit around thinking about how lovely the walk was yesterday. So for the dog there's just this, and this is enough. What did I say? This is it, and this is enough. That's what dogs live in. This is it, and this is enough.